This story comes to us from CBSNews.com. And there are going to be those who accuse me of bringing race into this. They're going to say, why do you got to bring race up? Why do you got to bring race into it? I'm not bringing the race into it. It's already in your face. Just pointing it out. It's right there in black and white, literally in black and white. Ebony and ivory, when human beings don't agree, bad things can happen, don't you see? I'll be at the Grammys. A white woman who fired through her front door and killed a black neighbor was arrested, authorities said, in a case that's put Florida's divisive stand your ground law back in the spotlight. The shooting sparked widespread anger and protests. Now, the Marion County Sheriff's Office said Susan Lawrence, who's 58, was charged with manslaughter with a firearm and other offenses. Ajik Owens, 35-year-old mother of four, was killed in the shooting, Sheriff Billy Woods said, was the culmination of a 2.5-year feud between these neighbors. They lived in the rolling hills south of Ocala, Florida, a North Florida city that's the heart of the state's horse country. Now, in a video posted on Facebook late Tuesday night, the sheriff said this was not a stand your ground case, but simply a killing. That was his press conference, I guess. The sheriff says, now, many of you were struggling to understand why there was not an immediate arrest. The laws here in the state of Florida are clear. Now, I may not like them, I may not agree with them, but however, those laws I will follow. He's, of course, talking about the stand your ground law. Now, the video shared by the sheriff's office shows two detectives, two dicks, and a deputy escorting Lawrence, who was wearing shorts, a black top, and a jacket down a hallway. The woman's hands were behind her because she was handcuffed. Now, according to the sheriff's office, evidence showed that over time, Lawrence had become angry over Owen's children playing in a field close to her apartment. So this Lawrence, it almost sounds like she's one of those Karens, like, hey, get away from my property. And it's not even her property, you know, it's just a field that's over there. That's what it sounds like. Friday night, the officer said Lawrence got into an argument with the children and was overheard yelling at them by a neighbor. During the argument, Lawrence threw a roller skate at Owen's 10-year-old son and hit him in a toe. Right there, if that was my son, yeah, she's getting her ass beat. The boy and his 12-year-old brother then went to speak to Lawrence, and she opened the door and swung at them with an umbrella. They told their mother what happened, and Owens approached Lawrence's home, knocked on the door multiple times, and demanded that Lawrence come outside. Lawrence then fired one shot through the door, striking Owens in the upper chest. That's not stand your ground, and she should have been arrested right away. She shot through the door. It wasn't even open. That's not stand your ground. But she's white, you understand. Now, the sheriff's office noted at the time she was shot, Owen's 10-year-old son was standing beside her. Deputies responding to a trespassing call at the apartment found Owen suffering from gunshot wounds. She later died at a hospital. When questioned by the sheriff's office, Lawrence claimed she acted in self-defense and that Owens was trying to break down her door. Lawrence also claimed that Owens had come after her in the past and previously attacked her. Well, if you're screaming at her kids and throwing roller skates at them, hell yeah. But detectives were able to establish that Lawrence's actions were not justifiable under Florida law, and she was arrested. Was it her shooting through the door that led you to that conclusion? The manslaughter charge Lawrence is facing is punishable by up to 30 years in prison, the office noted. She's also charged with culpable negligence, battery, and 2 counts of assault. I believe that's for throwing the roller skate. Billy Woods said in a statement that he wants to thank Miss Owens' family for their patience as we conducted the diligent investigation that we were bound by law to conduct. Miss Lawrence's fate is now in the hands of the judicial system, which I trust will deliver justice in due course. As I go to bed tonight, I will be saying a prayer for Miss Owens' children and the rest of her family. I'd ask all of you to do the same. That's a fair request. That's a fair request by the sheriff. Owens' family members called for the arrest, and of course, she was arrested. But at a vigil, Owens' mother, Pamela Diaz, said she was seeking justice for her daughter and her grandchildren. She said, "My daughter, my grandchildren's mother, was shot and killed with her son standing next to her. She had no weapon. She posed no imminent threat to anyone." Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, Benjamin's on the case. He's representing Owens' family in the civil case and said in a statement that the shooter had been yelling racial slurs at the children before the confrontation. She probably was. He also represented Trayvon Martin's family in 2012 when the black teenager was killed in the case that drew worldwide attention to the state's Stand Your Ground law. Remember? And Zimmerman got off of that, right? He didn't get convicted, I think. The sheriff's office hasn't confirmed there were slurs uttered or said whether race was a factor in the shooting. About 36 mostly black protesters gathered outside the Marion County Judicial Center to demand that the shooter be arrested in the country's latest flashpoint over race and gun violence. The chief prosecutor, State Attorney William Gladson, met with the protesters and urged patience while the investigation continued. And of course, we know now the end result was she was arrested and she's being charged with manslaughter and other charges. It goes down. It's kind of lengthy. I'll let you read it by clicking the link in the description box. Oh, yeah, it's lengthy. Oh, it keeps going. And they do talk about Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin here, if you read down, because they're talking about the stand your ground argument. But in this one here, I mean, shoots through an open door. I mean, through the closed door. You know, people are going to say, look, it doesn't, it's, so a white woman shot a black woman. You're saying it was all about race. It's in our face, dude. I mean, let's okay, but let's go hypothetical for a minute. I know going hypothetical sometimes is iffy and shaky because we don't know. I don't know what would have happened. I'm not God. But let's look at it for a second. What if Owens had shot Lawrence through her door? A black woman shot a white woman today. Do you think they would have said, well, we're going to conduct an investigation? Or do you believe they would have just went out, snatched her up and said, you're under arrest. You shot this woman. Well, of course, we don't know. But we're basing this on the country's temperature right now and the climate of racial divide. Because we do know what did happen is a white woman shot this black woman through the door, and they said, we're got to conduct an investigation. It could be stand your ground. The stand your ground allows you to shoot people through a closed door. That's stand your ground.